Every day in our lives we deal with trade-offs, right? We have to give up something in order to gain something else. So if you think about, some of you have computer science backgrounds, you deal with space-time classic trade-off. The more space, the more memory a program has, the faster it runs, right? So in the early days, especially where memory was expensive, you always had to choose that trade-off. And that's always the choice, right? Do you want something to run faster, or do you want to pay for more memory? There's another analogy I like to think of. I had a professor in college, but he used to say that examinations are painful. And his point was, you can decide, do you want to have the pain before the exam, because you're studying hard for it, or do you want to have the pain afterwards when you get your results if you didn't study for it, right? So it's all about trade-offs. If you think about backing up data to the cloud, there's a similar sort of trade-off that you're typically contending with. Do you keep the data out in the cloud so you have the benefit of having that off-site data and the flexibility of the cloud? Or do you keep it close to your location, keep it on-premise, where you have access and you can recover it quickly? But what if I told you that there's a solution that can help you do both? So that it is the best of both worlds. You can store your data locally, you can recover it quickly, but you also have the benefit of the data being off-site. So I'm happy to announce Sungard AS Managed Backup for AWS. And we're working very closely with Veritas, as I mentioned. This is a fully managed backup service. What that means is Sungard AS delivers this. We actually implement the service. It includes the hardware, the software, the operations of it. And we also provide an SLA. It's backed by an SLA. So we've been delivering managed services for many years. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Sungard AS. We provide production services as well as backup and recovery services. And the key thing here is, from a customer perspective, it's all based on an OpEx model, so it's a monthly model, there's no upfront cost for it. And the beauty of it is, in terms of usage, whatever you spend in terms of your AWS resources, that's the usage that you pay for. So some of the key things here, it is a fully managed backup service, right? It's based on Veritas Net Backup, there's other technologies as well. So in terms of the granularity of restore, you can do it at a file level, a folder level, or a system level. So for your recovery needs as well, this solution can meet those requirements. Again, I'm sure all of you have backup systems in place, right? And you're familiar with regulatory concerns, compliance reasons that you need to keep this data. We can give you all of that through one single managed solution. It also supports physical as well as virtual systems. And it's not just x86, but also multiple platforms as well. You can back up the data, store the data in AWS. As you delve into this, currently what we support is the scenario of customer premise to AWS. So whatever you've got your production systems, you don't have to change anything, you can keep running your production there, and we can back it up to AWS. So again, as I mentioned, we've got a local appliance that keeps all your local data as well, and it's all managed by configurable backup schedules and policies. So you can decide how much data do you keep on-premise, how much deep data, how much do you retain in the cloud. And the beauty of this approach as well is that you can restore your data locally. So if you want to get back to data from a day ago, right, where you lost a file, you can recover that locally. You don't have to go to AWS for that. But if you want to restore files from AWS and restore that to your location, you can do that as well. It's fully managed like I described, but it's also got self-service capabilities, so certain things that you might want to do yourself, there's a portal-based interface to that as well. For those of you that want to understand a little bit more detail of how this works underneath the covers, as I mentioned, we're partnering with Veritas. We're implementing this based on the Veritas Net Backup technology. So it's got both Net Backup appliance as well as the Cloud Catalyst, right? Cloud Catalyst is basically what stores this data and moves this data over to AWS. Now, if you think about storing data across the cloud, one of the biggest issues is sending data, how big of a pipe do you need? You've got to optimize that data. That's what this technology lets us do, right? With the Veritas technology, it's both deduped as well as compressed, so it's the most efficient way of getting data over to AWS. The other piece as well in this is that all of this implementation is done by Sungard. So we'll actually implement, we partner with Veritas to do this. You don't have to implement this, you don't have to buy the appliances. You're actually contracting for a service on an OpEx basis, on a monthly basis, and we're taking care of all of that for you. So does this fit your needs, right? Which sort of customer makes sense for this type of service? I'm sure all of you have got backups in place, right? And the question you have to ask yourself is it working the way you want, right? Is it meeting your needs? what sort of performance do you have? With the service that we have, you've got a 98% guarantee that's SLA backed. So that's number one. Number two, your backups may be working well for you, but you got to think about how much you're spending on that, right? Is that a good use of your resources, or is this something else that a provider like Sungard AWS can take care of for you? The third thing, especially if you're looking at making big, major capital investments to refresh your equipment, is this the point where you can switch to a pay-as-you-use service, monthly basis, paying for AWS usage as you use it. The other piece is for those of you that are relying on tape, especially for long-term data or even for recovery purposes. We've heard multiple presentations of the power of data in AWS. This really helps you address that, right? It helps you embrace a public cloud strategy so that data can be stored in AWS, especially your long-term data, and move away from tape. We currently offer this in North America, but we'll, in a matter of a few weeks, we'll have this available in the UK and Ireland. We're targeting enterprise customers, obviously Veritas and Sungard. We're focused on enterprise customers with more than 15 terabytes of data. If you're smaller than that, please come talk to us. But that's the target, right? That's where it makes sense. And the beauty of this is, even if you don't have a lot of AWS skills, or you've got scarce skills that you want to put to use in other areas, we can abstract out for you, right? We've got the AWS expertise. We've been doing this for quite a while. Sungard AWS, we've invested heavily in AWS. We've got services that provide recovery, faster recovery. We've got managed cloud services, and this is a service that we've launched around managed backup as well. The beauty of this, again, in summary, reduce data protection costs. So think about the costs, what you're spending for backup, the people costs, right? How much time it takes to debug and fix issues. All of that is taken care of by Sungard AWS. It's also flexible because your usage is based on how much data you put in AWS. The other aspect of this is you've got secure and reliable backups. So especially when you're dealing with things like ransomware, you've got to recover from that, you want to go back to an older copy of data. You've got the data, longer-term data that you can manage in AWS. You can get rapid and simple, fast restores because you don't have to go to AWS unless it's for data that's older than a certain period of time. So with that, I want to open this up for questions. Any questions about the service?
Don't be shy, guys.